Derry and I live in a fairly rural part of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We actually like it quite that way. We live close enough to the city, about 10 minutes or so from the Starbucks and the Barnes & Noble and the Target. Thank God for Target. Can the church say amen? We live about 10 minutes from all of that stuff that we might need to get to quickly. But we like that we live on a little quiet 2-lane road. We've got 3 sons, 11 and 9, and a little surprise 5-year-old. We don't even know how the 5-year-old got here yet. And we've got him, and his name is Jude. We named our last one Jude because that is as close as we could get to Revelation. Because it is finished. That's the end. It's the end. So we got these 3 boys, and we just wanted to raise them kind of out a little bit where they'd have some, stuff boys need. They needed trees to climb and creeks to go walk in and out and around, and dirt to play in and bugs and stuff like that, So we just moved out to a little rural area, and when someone's coming to visit us for the very first time, we don't have them come after dark. Because out where we live, when it's dark, not city dark, where you still have some street lights every now and then to help you to find your way. It's country dark. You know what I'm talking about. So we don't have people come out, because when they come out, I have to give them directions, and a lot of my directions aren't based strictly on street signs, because some of the street signs, you can't even really see in the country. It's based on some landmarks, some signs, some little things that I'm going to point them to, and when they see this, they'll know that they need to turn right, and when they see that, they know they will need to turn left. There are some arrows, there are a few signs here and there that I will point their attention to, and all of the signs are important, that they need to see them all. But I will tell you, when I'm giving someone directions on how to get to my house, it's the first sign that is most critical, because that sign is going to be the way they know for sure they're in the right vicinity. I pick very carefully which sign needs to be the first one that I bring their attention to, so that when they see it, they can go, oh yeah, I'm headed in the right direction. Signs, they are designed to point you in another direction. So I'm looking at this, and John's saying, you know what, there are a whole lot of signs I could have included that I didn't. But of the ones that John did include, I wanted to know, what was the first one? If that first sign is so critical and so important in making sure that we come out believers in Jesus Christ, not just believers for salvation, but I'm talking about trusters in Jesus. Like every day of our life, we're leaning not on our own understanding, but leaning on Him and acknowledging Him in all our ways and trusting Him with the details of our life, especially the areas of our life where we're feeling discouraged and defeated and disappointed because we keep giving our best, but it doesn't seem like our best is good enough on our job or in our marriage or with that particular child or that issue that we are having. We got to learn how to believe that He will be for us what we cannot be for ourselves. I want to come out of this book believing that. John wants us to as well. So I wanted to find out, since he only chose a specific few signs, what was the first one? The most seminal way, the priority way that he decided he could cause a bunch of women in the year 2014 to really believe that Jesus is who He says He is. So I figured you and I could look at that first sign. John chapter 2, verse 1 through 11. And on the 3rd day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee. The mother of Jesus was there. And Jesus also was invited, and His disciples, to this wedding. And when the wine gave out, the mother of Jesus said to Him, they don't have any wine. Jesus said to her, verse 4, woman, there's that term of endearment Lisa mentioned earlier. Woman, what do I have to do with you? My hour is not yet come. Verse 5 says that His mother said to the servants, whatever He says to you, do it. There were 6 stone water pots set there for the Jewish custom of purification, containing 20 to 30 gallons each. And Jesus said to them, fill the water pots with water. And they filled them up to the brim. And He said to them, verse 8, draw some out now and take them to the head waiter. And they took it to him. And when the head waiter tasted the water which had become wine, and didn't know where it came from, but the servants knew, because they're the ones who had drawn the water out, the head waiter called the bridegroom and he said, what's up? Every man normally serves the good wine first, but when but you've kept this good stuff until now. Verse 11. This was the beginning of his signs. There it is. Jesus did in Cana of Galilee, and look at this. He manifested his glory, and look what happened. His disciples believed in him. Let me tell you what I do not doubt. I do not doubt that from the furthest reaches of the balcony all the way right here on the floor, I do not doubt that we have a room full of disciples. I mean, you here. You're a follower of Jesus Christ. If you have placed faith in Jesus Christ, you obviously want to learn more about him, or you would not be at Unwrap the Bible. You came because you're a disciple. You have placed faith in him prayerfully, you have, and you have come to know him, and you want to get to know him better. A disciple is a follower of Jesus Christ. I pray that you're a disciple. That might not be the problem. The problem is if you're a disciple who doesn't believe. And I'm not talking about believing for salvation. These folks, they were already disciples. These men were already in relationship with him. The problem was they didn't quite yet trust him. But they had to see this, the scripture says. When they saw what Jesus did at this wedding at Cana, the disciples turned in verse 11 from just disciples to disciples who believed. I wonder if we might leave in a few hours this afternoon, not just disciples, but disciples who straight up believe that Jesus is who he says he is and will accomplish for us everything that he says that we will accomplish. There are some people in this story who are giving their best, and their best isn't good enough. They know exactly how you feel. This host family that is preparing a wedding feast, and they are going to disseminate wine to all the folks who are gathered there. This is going to be the best that they have to offer. But their best runs out. These folks know exactly how you and I feel when we're giving the best of our energy, the best of our emotional effort into that relationship. We're giving the best of our finances, the best of our time. We're giving the best we have to help that scenario to be what we hope that it will be, that child, that relationship, that endeavor to be what it's supposed to be. But they know what it's like to have that frustration and disappointment and discouraging because it seems like your best is not good enough. You know what's intriguing to me? That of all the signs that Jesus did, of all of the stories, the encounters that John could have recorded as the first and most important, the primary way for anybody who ever read his book to come to believe in Jesus, the first story he decided to record was a story of someone who gave their best and their best wasn't good enough. It turns out, listen, that running out is a prefix to your run in with Jesus. That the sign in your own life, see, these people couldn't have known their story was going to be a sign. They couldn't have known at the time they ran out of their best and their best wasn't good enough and they were frustrated and discouraged and upset and embarrassed and humiliated because people were going to know they didn't have enough. They didn't know at that time, they couldn't have known at that time that they were about to encounter Jesus in a way they had never encountered him before. But here's the good news, y'all. They might not have known it, but you and I can. Every single time you're in a scenario and you just don't seem to measure up, you don't have enough skill or enough talent, you feel like you are in over your head in that particular area of your life, you don't have enough energy, you don't have enough effort, you don't have any more ideas, no more creativity, you just feel like you are running out, you have nothing else to give. That's not a time for you and I to fall back into despair or discouragement. In fact, we ought to get excited because running out is a prefix to running into Jesus. In fact, I think one of the most clear ways we get to really see him. Remember, John's trying to record signs that'll make people really understand who Jesus is. And the first sign he chooses is a sign of somebody running out. What does this tell us? It tells us that in our lives, the primary way that you and I are going to see Jesus are not in the areas of our life where we've got it all together. It's going to be in the area of your life. I'm talking about the one you're thinking of right now that drives you nuts and you've been trying to pray your way out of for the last 10 years. It is that area of your life that he probably is leaving us in. He leaves us in that scenario because he knows if he takes you out of that scenario, he will also be taking you out of the opportunity to see him in a brand new way in your life. I don't want to be in a situation where I don't have enough. I'd rather be at this wedding without enough if it means that Jesus is getting ready to come and perform a miracle.
So, there is going to be negativity. There is stress. And you're going to hear a lot of things that will depress you. So, the first step to strengthening yourself is that you have to stop the negativity. You can't stop what is happening outside, but you can stop its impact on you. You strengthen yourself by shutting your spirit to what is happening outside you. To stop the negativity, you have to stop exposing your mind to the source of distress. You have to be very selective about how you listen to the news. Very selective. I'm not saying that ignore reality. What I'm saying is be very selective. Because when everything you hear depresses you, you have to do something about it. But that's not all. You have to also, in stopping the negativity, separate yourself for a personal time with God. This is a time to really focus on God. Stay in the Word. Go on a retreat. Go spend some time praying. Because in the midst of all that is happening, you have to strengthen yourself. And our source of strength is Jehovah. Stop the negativity. Secondly, in order to strengthen yourself, you have to settle your heart. You have to settle your heart. That's very important. Settle your heart. Listen to what Jesus said his disciples should do when they are faced with trouble on every side. In Luke chapter 21, verse 16 to 19, this is Jesus speaking to us. He says, "You will be betrayed even by parents and brothers, relatives and friends, and they will put some of you to death. And you will be hated by all for my name's sake. But not a hair of your head will be lost." And verse 19, he says, "By your patience possess your souls." Luke 21:19, "By your patience possess your souls." By your patience possess your souls. What Jesus is saying is, when all these things are going on around you, you have to take charge of your heart. You have to possess your souls. You don't have to allow your fear to possess your soul. You don't allow threats and intimidation to possess your soul. You don't allow the news media to possess your soul. You don't allow rumors to possess your soul. You possess your souls. You have to take charge. You are going to say to your soul, "Soul, you will not be bowed down. Soul, you will not be crushed. In this situation, I will not be crushed. I will not be a victim. I will not be down. I will not be destroyed." You have to possess your soul. Because if you don't possess your soul, something else is going to possess your soul. And for many of us, our souls are possessed with fear. Some of us, our souls are possessed with hatred, bitterness, which is not bad. It's good to be angry once in a while. But when the anger becomes fruitless, you have to start re-strategizing. And Jesus says, by patience, don't be hasty. Don't be in a rush when you're in a crisis. Don't be in a rush. Don't be hasty. Be patient. Take your time and possess your souls.